All right. Now, here we go. We're going to do another DIY. Let me clean that lens off. There we go. That you can do that with your shirt. It's really good stuff. Anyway, want to winterize the Seadoos real quick here. Get them ready for storage. We probably won't ride anymore this year. We got a lot of things going on. The house has been sold and moving and out of state. So anyway, let's get to it. You know, one of the things I want to do is I want to show you that you can save a ton of money. I mean, you don't need to buy all these silly accessories for the Seadoo. This hose extension with an on and off valve will do the same thing that your $13 or $14 hose will do. So you can just screw this right on into your Seadoo right here. I should probably get some light on it, but you just put it right on in there. And I've already, as you can see, blown these out with the air compressor. But if you look in that hole, your air hose will seal itself, okay? So you don't have to worry about anything but blowing it out. Now you can see how much water came out of here. Even though I ran the hose through and took care of it as much as possible, I just cleaned them out with the hose, let it drain, and then I blew them out with this, which they'd recommend, because this, unfortunately, this winter they're going to be covered up and kept outside until we secure the new house, and I'm not sure how quickly that'll happen. I'm kind of waiting for the housing market to dump, but let's get started here. So I've got my oil extractor all set up, and I'm just going to hook the hose to it, or the air hose to it, and we're going to go ahead and suck the oil out. We're going to change the plugs, put new oil in there, and put some fogging oil in the cylinders. I recommend the Sta-Bil. We will put Sta-Bil in the fuel tank as well, and then when I'm done today, I'm going to go down and fuel them up. So I have OEM oil, I've got the OEM parts, I've got everything ready to go. So let's hit it. Now again, if you don't have an oil extractor, I would recommend getting one. Okay, I've got the filter extracted, and I mean the oil extracted, the filter's out. I'm gonna leave it in here a little bit longer, let it drain while I'm putting the O-rings on the new filter. Just be careful when you're taking this out, because you do have to disassemble this nut at the bottom, because you have the small O-ring right here that's going to go on this right there, that's going to be on the outside. Okay, so you're going to slip this on here so it seals the outside. You're going to put this sleeve back on it and nudge this nut all the way up. I can see that they've got Loctite on the threads, so if they've got Loctite on the threads, I'm putting Loctite on the threads. So your two O-rings, you'll put the dark black one on the bottom of the cap right here, and the little red one right there. And then you'll be ready to assemble the filter. Again, I'm going to extract some more oil if there's any more in there. I put the old filter and old O-rings back in the box, and we're almost done. Then we'll fill her up with oil. We'll pop our plugs, fog each cylinder, put a rag over each one of it, turn over once or twice, put some more fogging material, oil in there, and this Seadoo will be done. I'll just put it right back together. It's blowing out. It'll be ready for the winter, and I use ceramic wax instead of regular old wax. So I'll be wiping them down with the ceramic wax, and they'll be ready to go next year, man. I mean, they are just calling my name right now. I want to get wild. Okay, we'll get to the next step in just a minute. Now, the other thing is that while you're extracting your oil, go ahead and pop your oil filter, because you can just let it drain a little bit. If you look down in there, there's a lot of oil that's going to sit, and unless you take care of the vacuum that's actually in there, it's not going to go down to the drain pan, so the oil pan. So I went ahead and I loosened that up. I turned the compressor off so I didn't make so much noise. So I'm going to let that filter drain just a little bit more, and in a few minutes you can see how much oil I've got in there right now. So we're almost done extracting, and it's probably been about, I don't know, 4 minutes or so. But you know, you go ahead and pull your filter and get your O-rings ready for your your new OEM. So here's your new OEM filter, all ready to go. And I just unfortunately the season's over, and I just can't wait for the new season to start. But I'm going to be all ready to go. We're winterizing it. We're new plugs, new filter, new oil. I'm going to lube everything on the outside, all your control surfaces in the back of the machine. As you can see under there, you just spray them with WD, and I might just kind of mist the engine just a little bit. But we're almost done with the first one, and we'll take the second one apart, and I'll go through a little bit more on that. Well, it looks like I've gotten all the oil out, and you can see down there. Gone ahead, put the O-rings in, put the oil filter cap back in. I'm going to go ahead and I've pulled this out of the dipstick tube, and we'll just set it over here until we're ready to drain that oil, or toss it, I mean. Anyway, let's go on. Okay, so it doesn't want to do that, so we'll just leave it like that. So I've already loosened and taken the screws off the spark plug distributors, or whatever you call these things nowadays. You know, I'm so used to old school stuff, points, set to dwell. You know, I know most of you folks probably don't know anything about that stuff anymore. So we just pop these peppies off, and we might have to undo it right here as well. So we'll get that done, and then we're ready to put the new plugs in. We're going to take these out one by one, but as we take them out, I'm going to fog each cylinder, and I'll put a rag over it, and turn the engine over once or twice, hit it a little bit with some more fog, then put the plug in, pull the next plug, hit it with some fog, turn it over just a little bit, put the plug back in, and do the same thing with the third one, because it's going to store, and this is going to be, you know, keep any kind of corrosion from happening in there. If it was to get moisture, of course I wouldn't think it would, but this is what the manual says to do, and if the manual says it, I'm doing it. Just like I said, put a little bit of Loctite on the nut down here for the filter, and I did the same. So I'm getting number 2 ready. I've already blown her out, and I've loosened everything up here. We'll take this deck off, and we'll do the same thing over here. So far, if I wasn't stopping to talk to y'all and answering phone calls, I probably would have had this one here done in about 25 minutes. And that's just because it kind of takes that time to extract the oil. Now, I did turn it over one time when I was getting nothing but bubbles. I turned it over one time, maybe a second and a half. I pulled the key real quick, and it did drain from the head down on into the oil pan. So I would recommend doing that, and here's the OEM or the recommended spark plugs to use. So we're ready to pull those things out, and I'm not going to bore you with me taking them out, but when we get to the next step, we'll stop and talk again.